Check, 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 check. Check, check, checkity, check. Checkity, check, check, checkity, check. Can you say something, please?
Yeah, but you can look for snarts.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have to poop. I'm hoping I can make it through the episode.
I'm going to save that. That's going to be the cold open now.
Fair enough.
We didn't even decide that we started recording, but now we're recording, and that was just gold.
Yep, I may shit my pants during this episode.
This happens every week, by the way. This is a discussion we have every week before the podcast.
Do I need to poop now? Or during our
break?
When
you sit down for an hour thing, you really got to consider it.
Yeah. 1 hour, it's a little bit much. Should see me at the movies.
Yeah, I feel like every time I go to the movies, I'm always worried about how much I drink beforehand and how long the movie is and all that. And like we were talking about last year, if there's a 20-minute Disney fucking short before.
Oh, speaking of what, we're going to keep going, yeah?
Yeah, why not? We're recording.
Well, we really are just starting out with...
It was a sound check, but now it's the cold open.
So once again, the Unreasonably Angry podcast's reach extends internationally. I don't know if you've heard.
Really?
But as of December 8th, Coco will show sans Olaf. They've removed Olaf and his Frozen adventure from the movie. So if you go after December 8th, if you haven't seen Coco yet and you were planning on it, you can go after December 8th and you will not have to sit through that garbage.
Wow.
Because apparently, I didn't know this. Did you know? I think somebody said that there was still something Coco related before Coco. So was it? Was there a short in front of that still, or was it Coco trailers Coco or trailers Olaf Coco?
What? Wait. Why would there be something related to the movie you're about to watch before the movie?
Well, you know what I mean? An actual short that belongs with it, as opposed to a force-fed 20-minute
including
holiday extravaganza.
That's weird.
Yeah. You know what else is weird? Biting the inside of your mouth.
Oh yeah, that was
just minutes before the podcast. I'm trying to just destroy a quick sandwich so that I'm not starving. Because this is the Unreasonably Angry podcast, but we don't need me being hunger monster, hangry.
That's the other thing about going to the movies, I always feel like I'm going to be starving by the end of it.
Well, you know what's fucking okay? Hold on, real quick. We're all over the map already, and it's the cold open. It's not so cold.
No. Continue with the biting the lip.
Yeah. So how is it that I'm 34? And I still don't know how to chew without eating my own fucking face.
I don't know.
Sometimes... And the thing is, as soon as I took the bite, I picture just a pool of blood in my mouth because I bit it fucking hard. I'm definitely swollen inside my mouth.
And whenever there's any amount of blood, even if it's a little bit in your mouth, you immediately taste it.
It just tastes awful. And the thing is, all I'm thinking now is I'm picturing the inside of my mouth, and what I'm picturing in my head is when they do chum in the water for sharks, where they throw the piece of the animal and then the shark takes a bite of it. It's shredded. There's blood everywhere.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm picturing in my goddamn head.
That's like those nightmares where you all your teeth fall out or something. Where you just imagine the worst case scenario.
The teeth falling out is never the one that gets me. It's the one where your mouth works perfectly fine, but you scream and no sound comes out.
Oh yeah.
That's when it fucks me up.
Yeah.
You're like, help, but everybody's looking at you and you're like,
yeah.
And no sound's coming out.
Sound is always weird.
I realized if I did it with no sound into the microphone that it would not come across.
No one would see you opening your mouth. Describing it works.
What was the other thing we were going at though? Just we said to go back to that.
Oh, there's the biting the mouth. I don't know.
We started. We
were both about to go into tangents at the same time or something.
Yeah, fucking figures. Oh, nope, I forgot it.
Let's just play the music. Welcome to episode 36 of the Unreasonably Angry Podcast. My name is Gary.
My name is Eric.
And how are you fuckers doing?
It's the holiday season. So suck my balls and lick my crack. I don't know.
You know what song I've never... That's a way to start a podcast.
If this is your first episode, you're not coming back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, you know what? You know what Christmas song I've never understood is he's coming, what is it? He's coming down the chimney down.
That's the same song. Yeah, he's coming down the chimney
down. What does that mean? Why does he say down after
dude? Because it was
coming down the chimney down. It sounds like he has like a speech impediment.
You know what else is really weird about that song?
Maybe he was just drunk when he wrote
Andy
it.
Williams, very good possibility. Who knows? But the other thing about that song is for the longest time I've been singing Happy Holidays, It's not Happy Holidays. It's Happy Holiday, singular.
Happy holiday. Oh, so it's like 1950s era America. And they don't recognize.
So
any
my
other
wife and I were sitting in the
holidays.
car and we're like, hold on, is this anti-Semitic? Like, is he just saying fuck Hanukkah? What the fuck's a Kwanzaa? But then Serena said, she goes, well, I always just assume when people say Happy Holidays that they mean Christmas and New Year, which is a possibility. But I've always thought
holiday.
like because of the PC culture we live in now, I think about like all 9 holidays that exist in that time frame. And I'm like, yeah, in the 1950s, they didn't give a fuck.
And every episode of every sitcom that's like trying to incorporate the fact that there's more holidays than Christmas.
Yeah. What's it?
Like there's a bunch of those in The Office, like the Moroccan Christmas and then
Morocco Christmas. I don't need a black Santa.
I just saw a
Who's
Community.
that black Santa for?
I just saw a Community episode that did the same thing. That was like there was one Jewish person, one Christian person, one atheist.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it was funny.
Well, I mean, is that Stanley's line? He's like, I don't need a black Jesus. I don't need black Santa. I know Santa ain't black. No, was it like there you have Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa? I remember somebody did a thing a couple years ago where it was like a ad for a Gap or Old Navy, and they would say like Christmas, Happy Christmas Hanukkah Kwanzaa.
Oh, yeah.
some shit like that. I was like, I
think
that.
it was like, was it J.C. Penney or something?
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
I was thinking about something real quick. I remember what it was I forgot about before we went into the music.
Oh, okay.
So you talked about like how you like stressed out about getting hungry during the movie. But the weird
and
thing,
having to pee.
yeah, the weird thing I've noticed about you, and now it makes sense because you worry about having to pee, but you are able to go a whole movie without a drink. You're the only person I can think of that I know that goes to movies regularly and eats popcorn and then can do it without a drink.
Oh, because of the salt.
Yeah, it gets like it's so fucking dry, but you're like, nope, I'm chilling. I'm like, no water, no icy, no Sprite.
Care. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll just go fuck myself.
No. I totally understand why you. I totally understand why you would crave a drink after popcorn, but
Yeah.
I don't for some
No,
reason.
I know. I was thinking about that and I was like, that's strange. But I mean, if you're worried, like if I have 2 sips of this and I have to piss myself, then
I don't drink anything when I.
And the thing is like we, even at home, like we were talking about this last night, we went, Serena and I watched Wind River, the Jeremy Renner,
saw that recently.
Elizabeth Olsen movie. Great
good.
fucking movie. Written by Taylor Sheridan, same guy who did Hell or High Water, Sicario. Like, the dude's on fire.
Not a uplifting movie.
No, we really haven't been watching a lot of uplifting movies. It was funny because I was like, do you want to watch this or Christmas Vacation? Because we need to start watching Christmas movies.
Those are very different movies.
But we were like, when's the next chance we're going to get with both babies are asleep to watch an adult?
Yeah, that's always
not
a
an
golden
adult
opportunity.
film, but an adult film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we watched Wind River, which was awesome. But even the start of that, I was like, I want to go to the bathroom real quick, and she's like, and I was like, I don't know why, but I don't want to have to pause it in the middle. Like it breaks the rhythm
It's
of
horrible.
the movie.
Yeah.
There's a fucking thing behind it.
Like they used to have intermissions for movies when they were like Gone with the Wind's like 3.5 hours or even 4 hours long.
Yeah, and now if you're Michael Bay, you're like, fuck you. These Transformers are super important. I can't put a 5-minute.
I can't believe that Michael Bay films are so long. Like, not only are they shit, but it's a lot of shit.
Dude, ego is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, right.
How long can I make this movie about things I want to make and say and do?
Yeah.
When I say, I don't really know what he's trying to say with Transformers movies, but I'm sure there's some.
He's trying to say, I want money.
Look at all the toys I have. But it was funny. We were talking about like just shitting. Like we're talking about shitting as we usually do on this podcast.
Sure.
And the thing is, I was thinking about like if they did do an intermission in the movie, like how long of a fucking intermission are you supposed to do? Because I know people that can go and piss or shit in 5 minutes, and that's not happening for me. Like I'm not a quick go. So unless you're doing a 15 or 20-minute intermission, which would completely fuck up any movie.
Well, a thing that does have an intermission would be like a live show, like a play or a musical. And I have recently been going to matinees of those, and when the musical starts again after the intermission, like the lights have already flashed.
Yeah.
It's still only half empty because like old people go to matinees and they take quite
There's
a
no
while in
hurry.
the bathrooms. So it's like everyone misses the first song.
Now the question is if old people take a long time, is it because it takes a long time for their business, or are we in an age now where old people are all slow but also have Reddit? Like, is there a possibility you see like a 75-year-old man?
No, I don't think we're quite there yet.
I can't be rushed. And
that is interesting to think about the things we'll be dealing with older people in the future.
Yeah.
Where they'll start actually having smartphones and like
on the toilet? Yeah.
Will there be a
we
point?
talk about the toilet a lot.
Will there be a point when like
Excuse me.
Like, will there be a point when old people are technically savvy? Or will it always be a cycle of the technology is too new for old people to get it?
It'll depend. I think our generation, because we've dealt with so much teaching our parents and grandparents how to use technology, that we are purposefully going to try to stay on top of things so as to not be that. Like, I don't want to be the old guy who's calling my kids and asking which cable to plug the TV into. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Is it like inevitable? Does technology move so fast that even when we're old and try to keep up with it, we still won't be able to keep up with it?
It's possible. And it could be just the fact that it's not that they can't keep up with it. There's just a certain point where you stop giving a fuck. Like, and the thing is, I'm fully aware that day's coming. And the thing is, I think it's going to come earlier for me than it does for most.
You know what that reminds me of? Back to the Future Part 2, when like Jennifer walks into the house with the older her and
he's like upside down.
Well, but they're like trying to get something to work, and they're like, "This newfangled stuff," and it's like 2015.
Yeah.
It's like that was where they put the little tiny pizza in the microwave, and it turns into a big pizza.
Yeah.
That's fun. Fun stuff.
So I had a really random thought before I talk about the story I actually wanted to talk about. We've talked before about how I'd say a good 60% of porn on your phone gets watched while on the toilet, right? Like, it happens a lot. Like, people just take a shit and they'll like browse
Have
Reddit.
we talked about that?
Yeah, I don't know,
Okay,
probably.
sure.
Maybe I talked to myself about it. But the thing I thought was kind of funny, I'm like, people will look at that stuff on their phone, but let's say you're taking a shit and you're looking at porn and something's actually like, stirring, arousing. Like, is it a little weird to think that if you're on a public toilet or someone else's toilet?
Public? Wait, what?
Well, I'm not saying just at home. I'm saying at a toilet. Like, okay, so
People look at stuff in public?
Fuck it. Yes.
Why?
Are you saying that you only look at Reddit on the toilet when you're at home?
No, not Reddit, but that Reddit.
Okay, well, no, I'm not saying gone wild. I'm not saying they're browsing gone wild in public, but I'm saying you've never been going through Reddit and just saw a link that led to a link, and you're like, those are
just
boobies.
like on my front page. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can say on more often than not when it comes to Reddit, it's like a click to a click to a click, and it's like, oh, boobies are here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it works.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and I was like, there's these people that I know people that look at porn all the time. It's just part of it. Like, if they're browsing through their phone and something links them to porn, they're not going to go, oh, I'm in public, I'm not looking at porn. I know it seems strange to you. It doesn't. Maybe
I furrowed my brow, by the way, for the listeners.
What it could be, honestly, and this could be completely speculative and conjecture.
Okay.
But maybe people can't look at porn at home. Like, if you're a married guy and your wife's not okay with it, right?
Oh, okay.
Let's say you're one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or let's
if you're not a bachelor. Yeah.
Yeah. Or let's say you work in an office and the office has Wi-Fi, but you're like, I'm not going to look at porn at my desk. I know people are like, why the fuck would you look at porn at your desk? You've never looked at boobies while at work on your phone? That's just never happened? Because I know for a fact I've definitely sent you more than one GIF of boobies while you were at work.
And you've said not safe for work on it. Which
so
I
my
thank
point
you for.
is if there's people, there are people that like to. Okay, so there was an article that came out. I'm all over the goddamn map. There was an article that
There's
came
a
out.
poll of how many people have.
No, there was a poll of people in New York, and it was something like 75 or 80% of people have masturbated at work. Like, it's a regular fucking thing. I'm not going to say it's a normal thing.
It's a weird discussion.
But it's an interesting one in my opinion.
Sure.
Like, to have not only to know that exists, but to go, there's enough people out there that will admit to masturbating at work. Like, that's a thing. Like, you admit to it.
Sure.
So anyway, this all goes back to what I was saying. What I was saying
That
was...
just reminds me of the scene from Wolf of Wall Street. When
Yeah.
he's like, how many
Yes.
times? Yeah.
Yes. Well, it also reminds me when I was working at GameStop way back in the day. This shouldn't be surprising.
But
our employee bathroom was also like a store area. Like there was like stuff stored in there, but it's usually like paper towels and things like that, and like old boxes, things like that. But one day I came in, there was an opened condom wrapper. There was no used condom nearby, but there was a condom wrapper.
That's like when you see spider web and you don't see the spider.
Exactly.
It's like, where's the spider?
And in my head, and unfortunately my brain tends to go a million miles an hour, but it went from like, oh, did somebody fuck someone in the office? Did somebody fuck someone in the bathroom? Ew, did somebody use a condom to jerk off at work? Like, there's all these things that are going on in my head. I'm like, ew, either way, none of that stuff is good.
No, none of it is good.
None of it is good.
There's no, I mean, there's a happy ending, but.
So, I digress.
Okay, thank you.
About shit porn toilet time.
Let's rewind.
But really quickly,
right?
this is the thing, and this is probably going to gross you out, but that's what I'm here for.
All right.
If you watch porn or you're looking at boobies or those kind of things at a public toilet, even if you're at your own toilet, right? Even if you're there, like if you live with a couple of roommates, if you're looking at porn on the toilet and you get a boner and your boner touches the toilet,
happen.
What do you mean it doesn't happen?
I wouldn't when I'm shitting.
You're saying it's
how is that physically possible?
To get a boner while you're taking a shit?
Because shitting is a turnoff.
There's a whole world out there.
Oh, that's true. Never
Have you ever heard of a blumpkin?
For me, shitting is a turnoff.
You know what a blumpkin is?
I don't care to know what a bumpkin is.
Well, now you're gonna find out because the people on the podcast whatever.
What is this episode?
I don't fucking know.
It's the holiday season.
A blumpkin is when you get a blowjob while you're taking a shit. That's what a blumpkin is.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I told you I didn't want to know.
I'm so sorry that you opened the advent calendar on December 3rd and you found out about blumpkins. But that's what's fucking happening right now. But anyway, I just thought how gross it is to think that you could potentially, kind of like if you're standing at a urinal, right, and you get too close and your dick touches the urinal.
I see what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. This is less about the thought of having a boner. It's more about the thought of...
No, that's an awful thought. Yeah.
Gross. It's kind of like if you ever been on a toilet where it's too shallow and your dick touches the porcelain.
Yes.
It's gross. Or your balls touch the water. Ew.
Sure.
So when I was thinking about this,
Isn't there a word for that?
When your balls touch the water?
That makes more... if that were teabagging, it would make more sense than teabagging.
It's something like that,
it's literally like dipping it in water. It's teabagging.
So if you're still listening to the podcast, if you're still with us...
A lot of people have turned it off by now. Just gone. I'm listening. I'm skipping this week.
Hey, if you made it this far, it's only going to get better from here. That's a promise I can't keep. So what's funny? So we're talking about toilet time, and did I ever tell you? So I worked at a company for a while. I'm not going to talk about the company because I want to sound like I'm bad mouthing the company, even though I did just kind of drop, open condom wrapper GameStop together, but whatever.
Well, it's not GameStop. This is not GameStop.
Yeah. So I worked at a place where I was on the phone all day, right? And so you were supposed to be on the phone. Like they kept track of how many minutes you were on the phone.
Really?
Yeah. And so there was a thing. Yeah. So there was a thing called like your average time per phone call because they wanted your phone calls to be within a certain range.
Did they like literally give you an efficiency number, like 100%. A rating?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you got bonus on it.
Wow.
If you were too fast, they felt like you were forcing people off the phone. If you were too slow, they felt like you weren't getting enough customers helped. And so they wanted you to be in this little fucking window, right?
Wow, okay.
And so part of that was, it's called handle time, is what it's called. Your average handle time for how long your phone call lasts.
Okay.
And then you'd have your breaks, so your handle time would stop, right? But if you had to go use a restroom while you were in between your breaks, they scheduled your breaks out. Like you had a little thing that would pop up and say you now have a 15-minute break. Mm. But on the rare occasion, I know it's shocking for people of this podcast to hear, occasionally I have to take a shit or piss outside those, fucking boundaries. And there's something to me that really irritates me about you trying to make me go to the bathroom only on my breaks.
Yeah, that's like school. Yeah, like going to the bathroom between periods.
Yeah, no. It's like that Elmo gif, the getting paid to poop gif. He's kind of like dancing around the toilet. But so I actually got to a point where, so that time when you doing it, if it wasn't on your break time, it was called not ready time. And what they did was they basically calculated how many minutes you weren't available to take a phone call because you were supposed to be on the phone. And they would add that time to your handle time. So it'd make it seem like you were taking longer on the calls than you actually were because they were penalizing you. So no matter what the reason was, if you had to piss, whatever, unless they gave you an actual break, it was counting towards your time.
Yeah.
And so eventually it got to a point where I got in trouble. And it was like, I had my manager call me over and go, "Hey, Eric, your not ready time is too long. This is too much." And I said, "Okay, well, if you look at my handle time, I'm still like faster than 80 or better than 80% or 90% of the team here. And I'm still getting the commissions that you want me to get. And I'm doing all the things you want me to do. The only thing you're focusing on is the fact that I take too long for my breaks. Not even breaks, for potty breaks." And so it eventually got to the point where she started getting me real shit. And this is actually getting into what we wanted to talk about today, which was like jobs, like good jobs versus shitty jobs. No pun intended. But we eventually got to a point where I was like, look, I understand what your point is. I'm getting like my commissions and the amount of money that I'm making you is still well and above most people on the team. I'm still taking less time per phone call than most people.
Right.
Like, get off my back.
Yeah.
One day I get a call from my manager and she asked me to come in to talk to her and her manager. And they do the same thing. They're like, "We need you to get this better. This needs to be improved. Maybe we need to move your breaks around." I'm like, "No, like I can't."
Why does it matter if you're still
control?
Doing well?
Control. It's literally control. Well, if you do this and we don't stop you, then everybody else is going to do it. I'm like, well, no, like I can't dictate when I'm going to need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, if you're great, and that's just saying, it's kind of what made me think of it was you're talking about like you can pre-plan when you're going to see a movie. Like, okay, I'm going to go see a movie. It's going to be 2.5 hours long. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait till right before the trailers start and go take a piss. And hopefully I don't have to go during the movie. But you never know.
Right.
Like you may have had coffee earlier or something that just triggers you having to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was really weird to be an adult and be like getting this much shit for it. So eventually,
shit for shitting.
Exactly. Shit for shit's sake. So we eventually get to a point where they call me in one day and they go, "We need you to come with us." And I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck is going on?" So my manager's manager walked me into the center, like the director of the center, like the biggest boss in this office.
Yeah.
And they sit me down and they go, "Eric, we'd like to, have a conversation about your not ready time and how it affects others. And this is the owner guy and we're going to discuss and blah, blah, blah." So we're sitting there and I'm like, well, and I said, the first thing I said was, "Do you think I need to have someone from like HR or someone like a representative with me?" And they go, no, this is just, it's informal. I was like, okay, well,
I want my lawyer.
Right. And I was like, this doesn't seem informal. But as we're talking about it, he's kind of like, "Well, Eric is just hoping to kind of go over things with you." And I go, "Okay, well, let me ask you a question." I said, like, "You're saying this is actually directly affecting other people around me, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you take how long it takes me per call, I'm still half as long as most people on our team. I'm actually getting the sales things that you guys want more than anybody else on the team. So the thing you're focusing on is this." "Well, Eric, I need you to understand that this is why we do this." And I said, "Look, I can't control this. Like, it is what it is. I have to go to the bathroom." And the thing is I wasn't trying to be difficult. It came off at the time like I was trying to be difficult. That's what they thought. They thought it was just like, "Fuck you. It's just me taking an extra break and getting paid for it," kind of thing. Eventually gets to the point where they go, "Look, we need to know what's going on. What are you doing?" And so I finally said, "Look, honestly," and listeners of the podcast, I have depression. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. And part of that sometimes is the super embarrassing thing of feeling the need to wash your hands 2 or 3 extra times. And so sometimes there were times where I'd go to the bathroom and I can't, I'm not one of those people I see. So we talked just a minute ago about some people are 5-minute poopers and some people are half an hour poopers. I don't understand how the 5-minute poopers poop that fast. Like, is your butt just clean? Like, you pooped and there's just nothing there. You wiped and you're done. Like, sometimes wiping takes a fucking while. It's like that
one wipe wonders.
Yeah, dude. When I get one of those, I don't trust it. I wipe like 3 extra times just to make sure there's not doo-doo hanging out on the side. Like, this motherfucker. So I basically explained to him. I said, "Look, I don't know why it takes some people less time to poop. I can't get up unless I know I'm clean, and then sometimes it takes me longer to wash my hands." And he goes, "Well, we all wash our hands." And I said, "No." I said, "Honestly, sometimes it's an actual obsessive, like a compulsive thing where I have to wash them 2 or 3 times." And I watch his eyes go from like, this guy's being a pain in the ass to, "Oh fuck, we might be stepping into some like bad territory." Because if you think about it, at this point, we're talking about a disability. And I'm never one of those people that likes to do that. Like, "Oh, that's not me." I don't,
yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like, I'm going to do my job. I'm still going to come there and still going to work my ass off.
Yeah, but if they're going to keep like pushing you.
Yeah, and it was funny because I watched him go from like on their side to quickly like, "Holy fucking shit, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
Why did you guys bring him into my office?
Yeah.
And it was like from the second I said honestly, and the thing is I got kind of emotional because I don't like talking about it. I'm better now. This was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like talking about any of my depression, which wasn't interesting to me. And I want to share with somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I apologize that this is an issue for you guys, but realistically, sometimes it's really embarrassing to me and I don't want to talk about it. And he just see him go, oh, fuck. Like, if this person wanted to say they were being harassed for a disability, I'd be in so much shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we fucking hightailed it out of there. My manager goes, so I'm really sorry that it came to this, and I hope you understand, but if you need to take the rest of the day off to, like, relax, I completely understand. So I walk out to the parking lot. I was like, all right. So I called my wife, who was then my girlfriend or fiance, and I was like, hey, honey, I got the rest of the day paid off. And she's like, why? And I was like, because I got in trouble for shitting. I was like, there you go.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't understand that. Like,
well,
if you're already being better than all of the other ones, and then, well, I mean, I guess I can see from a managerial standpoint, like, if other people know that he's getting up to go to the bathroom every few, like, more often than others, then they might do it too. Blah blah blah. But all that, like, it's like.
Well, all it makes me think of though is kind of where we're at right now. Like, why are you looking around to see what other people are doing? You know what I mean? But half of this is like it's weird job environments because there's this generation right before us where I feel like they have this. This is how things are supposed to be. This is how things are. This is how things are supposed to be, and I don't like the change. I remember it was I worked for Bank of America for a while, and I was in their like loan funding department. So I was like in this. It wasn't an office. It wasn't a customer facing environment. So you're allowed to wear pretty much whatever you want, just no pajamas. But there was a thing that came out about tattoos. Like people were getting mad that people had tattoos. And I remember there was an article or was a mass email sent just a few months later that was like, hey, from now on, Bank of America is no longer gonna. We're not going to take complaints about people with tattoos. Tattoo is a personal art form, and as long as it's not offensive, we don't want to hear about it anymore.
Okay.
And I remember my friend who she had full sleeves on both arms. Like when that came out, she like was crying because for her, like she had been one of those people that had been complained about, and none of her tattoos were offensive. None of them were, but was basically at this time where people were like, all these fucking young kids with their tattoos and their gauged ears and their metal.
It the 90s?
I was very early 2000s. So there was that shift. I mean, I think now they say something like 60% of the workforce has tattoos, so it's not even that surprising.
Really? Wow.
But the funny part for me was like if you take that story, like you have the balance of like the old guard and how things are supposed to be, and well, if you're on a break, you're on a break, and if you're on your clock, you should be on your clock, and it's like there is no gray area of discussing like, hey, I understand that you want me to do things, you want to do them, but I'm doing things still successfully. I just happen to be doing this. The other side of it is how people like to do that. It is a weird time right now where people are always looking over to see what other people are doing. Like, oh, well, why did they get away with that? Well, why did they get this and I don't? Well, why does this person get to do this and I?
Yeah.
Why are you worried about it? Do your fucking job. Are you getting paid? Is your paycheck still coming in? Yes.
Yeah. Are
you able to function on a daily basis? Yes. Then what the fuck do you care what Brian in the corner over there is doing? Like, just do your job.
Because we're all part of one world, and we are all part of collective consciousness.
Are you fucking with me right now?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to justify it.
Have you ever had something like that? Have you ever had a job?
Well, I was at Office Depot. Like I started in like 2011, and probably in like 2012, we had someone hired who had tattoos, and they had to wear long sleeves. And I don't know if that was a. You know what? I'll bet that was a manager, like a manager who didn't like it, and if he had like complained to the company, that like the manager would have gotten in trouble for it.
So it wasn't a corporate policy. It was
probably
like
not. I mean, if Bank of America changed that, power. Yeah, I bet it was, because that's. I mean, it seems like discrimination. It's like there's it's. I mean.
The thing is, it's tough. Is like I get it. If you're in a customer facing job, we should be at a point now where it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like if you have tattoos on your face, like if you have tattoos on your face, I'm like, okay, I get it. But if you have a tattoo on your arm, like if you live in the world and you walk around this world that we exist, there are much bigger things to have issue with than, oh, my server has a tattoo, or oh, the guy ringing me up at the counter has a tattoo.
Yeah.
If you're at Office Depot or Sprint or one of those places, it's like the person that's helping me right now. Are they helping you successfully? Are they helping you with the product that you need help with? Is their tattoo exclusive, or does it Does it have anything to do with their intelligence level? No? Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But that's how it was when I was at Sprint. I couldn't have my tattoos out. I had to have long sleeves. I was the only guy in the fucking place that had to wear long sleeves. Of course it was stupid, but it was also... I also am the type of person that goes, okay, like, I choose to work here. You know what I mean? Like, if it's really that big a deal, I don't have to work here.
That's true.
But most people don't think that way. Most people want to be accepted for who they are. I personally just go, fucking whatever. I'm here to make money. If this is what you want me to do, then fucking whatever. As long as you're not causing me to be discriminated against, and just let me poop. You know?
Yeah. But as far as like the everyone like worrying about everything. I mean, there's a lot of like fair, like stuff being fair.
The fair thing, honestly, the fair thing drives me crazy. More
everything
than anything else.
needs to be like, there needs to be fair. Like, I mean, okay, so well, let me back up. I'm all for fair wages and like. No, let me reiterate what I'm talking about. Like people, like especially young people, and I've probably like said stuff like it too. Like, that's not fair, or like,
yeah,
it's not fair that like minimum wage is only this much, or like it's not fair that it's that high, or like it's like anyone can make if someone says like this should be fair, then like when it's made fair to their standards, then it's gonna not be fair to someone else's standards.
Well, that's
exactly fair is subjective.
Yeah.
It's not like what's fair?
Well, the thing is, we talked about this a long time ago on the podcast. I grew up regularly hearing life isn't fair. I was told that all the time growing up. It was like I didn't grow up with much. We didn't grow up with a lot of money, and so I have kids that go to school with that. Like, I remember when I was 16. I'd go to school and there'd be kids driving their parents' Porsche. Or I remember these twin girls whose dad bought them an Escalade for them to split, to share.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a $70,000 car. What the fuck? But the thing is, I was never the type of person to go, that's not fair. I'd be like, what? Well, what do I have? Like, what? I mean, it's not going to change anything. If I sit around and boo-hoo about it, it's not going to change shit.
Right.
The things that bother me, like, I understand if it's like necessities to live. If it's not, that's the stuff. Oh God, I'm like in a circle now.
Well, okay, so let's narrow down. Like, minimum wage is going to increase to $15 in Seattle city
I think it
limits.
already is. If not, then it will be January 1st. I think it already is.
Yeah, so $15 minimum wage in everywhere that has a Seattle address, which is more than just the city. It's like
I think it's the county. I think it's that, like, I don't know.
Is it King County? Yeah. Anyway,
I don't think it's probably not King County. It's probably just Seattle proper, because King County stretches all the way the fuck out to like Bothell, and they're not going to fucking pay you $15 an hour in Bothell.
Yeah, but so you have like people going like, we should raise it to this because the cost of living is higher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, things just cost more than they did when it was only this much, and so we should raise it to this much just because to like help people to get to that place, to like be able to live here and also like have good living.
But the funny thing about that is you don't have to live in the city. Like, you could work in the city and commute from wherever and still make that $15 an hour.
That's the thing, is that people who move into the city should be making a lot more than $15 to begin with to live there.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, just live just outside of the city, and your rent will be way lower, and your cost of living will be lower anyway.
But that's the thing is, see, what you just said there is, this goes back to what we've talked about on the podcast 1,000 times. You're a very logical person. And even though you say sometimes that's not fair, usually when you say that's not fair, it's like if you saw a video of like a little kid with no drinking water. That's not fucking fair. Well, you know what I mean? If you grew up with flies on your eyeballs, that's not fucking fair. If you're upset because somebody else got an iPhone X or 10 and you still have the iPhone 5, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's just fucking life, dude. It's just work harder, do something different, or don't give a shit. You don't have to keep up with the Jones about everything. But that's what I deal with in my job. I work, it's technically Seattle, but it's not Seattle proper. But I don't get the people that are complaining about that. What I get is people that'll come in and be like, hey, I'm paying X for what I get from you, and my friend over here pays less than I do for the same thing. So, for example, I work in property management. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I have lots of friends that work in property management. One of the biggest things you'll get is from residents that'll be like, hey, I'm paying I'm just going to throw out random numbers. I pay $500 a month for this apartment. Yeah. Okay. The guy downstairs from me only pays $400 a month. That's not fair. And I go, okay, well, There's so much that goes into that that's not even fucking funny. It'd be like saying I rented a room at a hotel and it was $500 and you paid $450. It's the exact same fucking thing. It all depends on when you booked it, where you booked it, how you booked it.
Yeah.
Now you could say, hey, well, that person below me is paying a little less. Well, when did you move in? Did you move in the fucking summer when things are the most expensive? Yes. Did that person move in December? Well, that doesn't matter. It does fucking matter. But that's where we're at now.
That's why employers don't like show everyone else's wages.
Exactly.
Like,
and the thing is people bring up this $15 an hour thing and they go, that's not fair. And the thing is, you know me, I play devil's advocate. I sit in the middle and go, okay, if you're someone who's been at your job for a few years and you're making $17 an hour and that bump up to 15 doesn't improve your 17, if your 17 doesn't go up to 18,
yeah,
is that fair to you?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, in my first job, I made $5.15 a fucking hour, $5.75.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that was a billion years ago, but it's funny because you have people that are like, well, that's not fair. They're not making enough. Then you have people that are like, well, I want them to get an increase. But wait, if they're at 15 and I've been here for 5 years and I'm only making 16, are they going to raise my 16? That's not fair.
Right.
Exactly. So it's like you get this, as you like to do, the fucking Venn diagram of people that want to fight for rights, but then get really pissed off if they find out that somebody that just came out of high school is flipping burgers is making $1 less an hour than they are, and they've been working for 5 years.
Yeah.
So where's the middle ground?
And they're only making that much because they live on the right side of the street.
Literally 3 blocks away. Yeah.
Yeah. And if fair to these people is having small businesses close down because they can't afford to pay their workers more than what they were, and like it's not like that's why Seattle is becoming what it's becoming. It's becoming like a place where restaurants are like $20 a plate and like parking is $20 a hour, and it's like, how can you even if you don't work at Amazon or if you don't work at
I could tell you just recently took a trip down to the city. Everything is expensive here.
Yeah, and like if you don't make 6 figures right out of college because you're a fucking one of those people, then how can you even afford to visit, let alone live there?
Well, that's the funny thing, and the thing that I always go back to, and it happened a lot when we lived in Irvine. Like, I'd get people that would come in and be like, well, that's not fair. I can't afford to live here. I can't
live in Irvine.
And that's the whole fucking point, though, is if you think about it, it's like, where's the line? Like, are we seriously saying that everybody deserves to live in the same area as everybody else? That you shouldn't have to work extra hard or do anything different or special to be able to live anywhere you want to live? Like, I used to want to live in New York. Like, it was an idea of mine that I was like, hey, I'd love to live in New York for a while, right? Or there's people that go, hey, you know what? I want to go live in Hawaii. I want to go live on the beach and da-da-da-da. You don't just get to do that. You don't just get to get what you want all the time.
You have to work for it.
And that's the funny thing is people get really upset about that. They go, well, that's not fair. Like, why can't I live there? And it's like, you can if you get a better job. Well, that's not fair. God, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, then they don't want to live in a capitalist country.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate because that's where we're at. But I mean, the thing is I never looked at it that way. Like, I lived in Granite Bay for a while when I was younger, and Granite Bay is a nice area. Like, it's a really well-off area. Most people that live there live in $1 million homes, and this is back before $1 million homes were fucking every house. But where we lived on that one street in the fucking neighborhood that they set aside to make sure that people that don't have lots of money can live there too. Like, we lived in one of those. And we lived there, and I looked across the fence and I'm like, man, that's a fucking nice house. But I never felt like, oh, I just deserve to live here. Like, my mom worked 3 fucking jobs for us to have a fucking tiny 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment.
Yeah.
And so what I don't get is when people get so up in arms about what they're entitled to. I think that's the word, entitled.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, hey, you know what? If you're not getting what you think you deserve, go fucking earn it.
Yeah.
And I know people want to talk about all the setbacks and the obstacles and all that, but like I said, I watched my mom. I went to independent studies for a while so that I could help work part-time at a sandwich shop to help my mom pay for insurance and groceries while she worked 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So it's like I watched someone do it. So I'm like, it's definitely doable. If you want to go live in fucking whatever nice neighborhood, I don't know where people go now. If you want to live in Malibu, then go do what you got to do to get to Malibu. It's attainable, but you don't just get to live there just cause.
You don't even have to say Malibu. You can just say Seattle now.
Yeah, well, fuck it. Well, no, I mean,
Well, it's yeah. We're not saying it's a bad thing to raise the minimum wage, but it's it's silly to do it like just like in one little area. Like I would say like state is more important than.
Well, the thing is, okay,
anything.
so and that's the argument for the other side. If you raise minimum wage federally, right? Like if you say federally across the board, it's a mandate that everybody's $10 or $12, right?
That's the problem is that if you raise it federally, then you're raising like you'll put like companies out of business.
Exactly.
Companies have factories in where they can charge the least money.
Yep.
And if they can charge a little bit more than that, they're gonna move to fucking China.
Yeah.
It's like that's not gonna like increase like better employment. That's gonna decrease the amount of jobs.
Hey guys, just a quick break in the action. First off, have you bought a fucking tie yet? Have you bought a fucking tie yet?
Yeah, it's been like 5 episodes we've been sponsored by these guys.
If you haven't bought a fucking tie, go to wearedappertise.com. We Are Dappertise is a company created by brothers Andrew and Julian. You've heard these names. These guys are awesome. They believe that feeling and looking great should be an affordable right for all. So whether you're wearing a suit like I do daily, well, I don't wear a suit, I wear a tie. But I wear like a nice shirt and a tie. If you have an interview, we've all had an interview. Mm-hmm. If you have a classy date, you want to take her out somewhere, get a glass of white wine, if you're that guy, or a nice cold beer, you're hoping to get laid afterwards, wear a goddamn tie.
Yeah, do it. I mean, like, why not? Like, a tie just makes everything better. Like, it goes from, like, you're wearing a shirt to, like, you're a fucking man.
Exactly.
Like, be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Not only just a man, be a fucking dapper man.
Be a dapper man. Wear a dapper tie and be a dapper man.
Get some Dapper Dan pomade.
Dapper Dan pomade, and I'm not going anywhere with this. Andrew and Julian have carefully curated beautiful designs to offer you a selection of knitted, elegant, unique, and affordable ties. Go to wearedappertise.com and enter the promo code ANGRY to get free shipping on all your orders all over the U.S. Again, go to wearedappertise.com, enter the promo code ANGRY.
We Are Dappertise, smart, affordable fashion.
Yeah, so I started at Office Depot simply because it was the only place that would hire me without experience. That was my first job. And the shit I hate about retail is that they treat you like pigs in like it's just the most.
We're gonna say a blanket.
No, I was gonna say in like pens, but pigs I was gonna say that's like the most like counter. Like that's like the most punk, like screw the world like thing. Like
yeah, it's not fair, man.
We're all pigs in a slaughterhouse. Like bleh.
You know the Smashing Pumpkins one is right there.
Yeah,
still just a rat in a cage. It's right there. You're dancing around
it. It's true. To an extent, it's true. Like especially being an employee in a retail company.
Yeah,
I mean at the bottom is like. Yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on your manager. I mean, no matter what, you'll feel like you're not unimportant to the company because they just go through like people like crazy. But depending on the manager is the one who will decide if you feel valued.
Yeah,
and depending on their style of management, that's how you'll like get gratification or like, fulfillment from your job.
Yeah.
And that's shitty. It shouldn't be up to that because there are tons of shitty managers, and I've been through the ringer with those.
Yep.
But it's the shitty part that I was going to talk about was how like reviewing works and how it's never set up ideally, and mostly just because managers will just put it off sometimes, and it's like, it's my right to like be reviewed as like per company policy, and you're just gonna like be like, I'm busy this week, so I'll do it a month from now. And it's like, well, what? That's where my raise comes from.
Yeah. And
like, so I'd get like, I'd walk in and I didn't sell enough like protection plans, and like I didn't sell enough. Like I wasn't a great salesman. I was more just like a service guy where I would help people with. Well, I ended up in the copy center, so I didn't even do sale really.
Well, like that they want to push the insurance thing, and then you're doing some research on it, and you're like, this is bullshit.
That's the thing. That's the problem I had with selling, and I'm not saying I would be a terrible salesman. I was a terrible salesman for them because I never believed in the product I was selling. The insurance is bullshit. Don't buy those.
So come back to what you were saying real quick. But I did the same thing when I worked for like a DirecTV like dealer, like the people that would like sell DirecTV.
Yeah.
And during our thing, like our training was like, you can make lots of money off this total equipment protection package. I'm like, okay. And they're like, so whenever you set somebody up with DirecTV, always sell them this package. It's like $150, and once you do that, you get $50 off that. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's awesome. I'll sell the shit out of that.
Yeah.
So I sold it. And then one day somebody goes, I go, yeah, man, this is awesome. I'm actually helping people. He goes, do you know what that is yet? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, you haven't been here very long yet. Do you know what that insurance package is? Mm-hmm. And I go, no, why? And he goes, almost don't even want to tell you. And I was like, why not? And he goes, dude, we don't actually have insurance. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, what we do is we sell them this total insurance, quote unquote, package. And what we do is we contact DirecTV for them. That's it. We call them and say that this thing is broken, and then they send us a new one that we send to them. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, they don't have to pay us. They could do it themselves and not have to pay anything for it.
Yeah.
And that was it. I wouldn't sell them anymore.
Nope.
So, of course, he started giving me shit. I'm like, look, man, I can't sell something when I feel like I'm fucking people over.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
That's why I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, of course, the amount of money I make, not only by not making commission on those, but by not getting a higher raise because I didn't sell enough of those, is like, I mean, I understand it. No, I don't know. I'm back and forth on it because it's like, I mean, whether or not it's a cheap, like, stupid thing that's screwing people over, that's just, I mean, that's how things work sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's how companies like survive, like how much popcorn costs at movie theaters and like water bottles at Disneyland, etc.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I get that the company wants to make more money and I'm a way to do that, but I
don't want to be.
I don't want to screw people over. I have integrity. It's like that was stupid. And I like that I ended up in the copy center, even though I would still get pushed to upsell because it's more of a service industry. And I like just people coming in telling me what they want and me providing the service for them, and that's it. Yeah. It's like it's cut and dry, easy to do.
Yeah.
And no bullshit. So like, yeah, reviews in retail jobs and getting like 21-cent raises every year in a retail job. It's like, well that's why I left it. That's why I left retail.
Not even just in retail, but even in my line of work, in my past line of work, the thing that I always hated so much about reviews and raises is when people go, hey, well, this is how much raise we can give you because this is how much you make now. And I was like, hold on. So you're not giving me a raise based off what you think I'm worth. You're giving me a raise based off what I actually currently make.
Right. The
tough part about that, and the part that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, is you don't want to look over the fence. You want to look at somebody else, right? But the thing that's funny is as companies start to pay more money for cost of living increases, if you started, like when I started at Irvine Company, where I worked there for a while, like I started at $13 or $14 an hour. Like that's just what they paid then. But towards the end of it, like they were hiring leasing consultants and people in at 16, 17, 1750. And it's like, even in my 3 years of getting regular raises, I'm not anywhere near where these people are getting hired at because you guys are paying all this money.
Yeah.
So instead of when I get a raise going, hey, you know what, you have 250 leases with us, we should probably be paying you more. They go, well, this is what you make now. So this is what an X amount of percentage raise is equal to.
You know what? That and when I was working at the copy center at Office Depot, we'd have people come in from like FedEx or something or Kinko's. And, like, they'd start way higher than we were. And, like, yeah, they know how to use a copy machine. But, I mean, does loyalty mean nothing to you? Like, what the fuck?
Not to the bottom line.
Like, of course not.
Well, the funny thing is if you work somewhere long enough, most people tell you that the cost of hiring someone is fucking extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. It's the same as like the actual amount of money you spend to advertise a job, hire a job, do the drug tests, all those things versus just paying somebody who's already there. It's actually cheaper to keep the person that's there. Kind of like acquiring new customers. Yeah. Acquiring customers is fucking expensive because you have to do advertising, outreach, sales, training, all that fucking shit. Yeah. You'd think after a while people would catch on and be like, hey, the people that are here that are good at it, we should probably make sure that they're valued. But that actually is kind of what my point is on the $15 an hour thing. I have no problem with people getting paid $15 an hour, whatever. What actually bothers me the most about it is if your first job, if your first job out of high school, your first job out of college is already paying you $15 an hour, and it's already paying you basically 3 times more than I made.
What incentive do you have to try harder?
Yeah, and at that point, you're like, well, you've never really had a shitty job.
Right.
Like, if I'm telling you right now, if I worked at Blimpie, if I worked at McDonald's, and you're paying me $15 to flip burgers, I'll flip burgers all fucking day. Now, granted, at this point in my life, $15 an hour is not enough to take care of myself and my family, etc. So I get that part of it. But if you're starting out at that, well, that's the bottom for you. Like the bottom of the ladder for you is starting at $15 an hour.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a great place to start. And I guess for this time right now where people are having such a hard time getting out of college and like finding a job, it's good that they at least have these, basic minimum wage at being $15 an hour. But it's going to make it really fucking hard for people to like move up much. Like, I mean, I can't imagine if you start at $15 an hour working at McDonald's in downtown right now, they're going to give you like high raises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because they won't have room in their budget because they're paying the people who just started $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Speaking of shitty jobs, I think... Did I ever tell you like about my shortest job ever?
No.
Okay, so
maybe. I think so.
So I have 2 that are pretty close.
Okay.
I worked at like a mailbox store.
Are they close like within a few hours or like...
I lasted a week working at do you remember Mailboxes, etc.? Do you remember those type of places?
They still exist, believe it or not.
Yeah, okay. They shouldn't. But
yeah, right.
I worked there for 1 week.
Yeah.
I was fucking done after a week. It was me. I was like 16 or 17, and there was like a 55-year-old woman who fucking been there for 20 years and hated everything and everyone. I was like, this is not worth shit. So I left there. That's still not the shortest job I ever had. Shortest job I ever had was I started working for a pest control company.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I got hired and they're like, hey, you come, you do this training. We're going to meet here. You get a sign-on fee of like $200. And then we're going to give you all the tools you need to go sell. And I'm young enough that I'm like, I think it was 17. I'm like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'll come. And they had it like a Pizza Hut or Round Table. I was like, oh, I'll have some pizza and learn about this job. So I thought this was like, you're going to help service things, like going to help people that already have this service set up or going to talk to people that have already been interested or reaching out to people. Turns out, it's just like, here's our information, go canvas. So you're not going with anybody's experience.
Literally knock on doors.
Literally, I'm 17 years old, and they go, hey, just take this information and then go door to door knocking and ask people if they want pest control. Now, the thing was, it wasn't Orkin or, Terminex or any of those where you're like, there's name brand.
Yeah, it was like Joe's Pest.
Essentially, yes. And so I found I think I lasted 6 hours. Because I went for like 3 hours knocking door to door. I got sworn at so much. Doors slammed in my face. Fuck you, get off my property.
What kind of neighborhood was it?
Decent neighborhoods, like Northern California, like decent neighborhoods. Oh, I wasn't going anywhere too sketchy.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I'm like, holy shit, like this fucking sucks. So I literally went and I think I managed one whole day and I'm like, I'm not getting any proper training. I'm not being shown around by somebody who's been doing this for a while. They're all bragging about how much money they're making. And I went out and I was like, fuck this, dude. And I quit like first day. I was like, that's it. That's fucking it.
I can't imagine like unless you're Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness, actually sticking with that job.
Well, that's the thing. The funny thing is like I look at it now, and that's kind of what brought me back to that was like if somebody had told me, hey, we're gonna pay you $15 an hour to go knock door to door, I wouldn't give a flying fuck. I'd be like, done. Here's you give me a Fitbit and let me count my steps. But back then it was commission based. So it was literally going door to door, hoping somebody was interested in pest control service, and it was like
You didn't even have a base.
No.
Oh my god,
dude! There was it's draw against commission is what it was.
Oh
so basically, the way it works is it is a base pay. It's like you make $500 per month or whatever your commission is. It's not a combined. So like if you made $800 in a month, right? If you surpassed that in commission, you got what you made in commission. If you didn't make more than $800 in commission, you got the $800.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't gonna fucking happen.
No. I don't really have. I haven't had that many jobs, so I don't have like a shortest or a worst. But I've dealt with some interesting. I mean, at Office Depot, there were plenty of people. Like by the time I left, I left with people who I had become friends with over the years. There, we all left at like the same time because we collectively we were like we're done with this shit. And then so the three of us had at one point started writing down names that we remembered.
Yeah.
The list was like 3 pages long of people who had come and go since we'd been there.
Holy shit! Seriously?
Yeah, it was like over like 80 people, like in the 4 years that I had worked there, of people come and going from the store. And I like the longest one was like as long as we'd been there. Actually, no one had been there as long as we had been there by the end, but even including managers.
Jesus.
But like the shortest one was like 2 hours. like
really?
They took a break and they didn't come back. Like,
dude, that happened. Dude, when I was working at GameStop, that happened.
Yeah,
somebody came
like,
in.
What the?
Worked with us for a few hours, took their lunch, or like, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, and never came back. And I'm like, where the fuck that guy go?
It's like going on a date and going to the bathroom and leaving. Like,
the thing is funny is it's like GameStop
just made a commitment.
Like, what could have possibly happened the first few hours of GameStop that made you go, fuck this, I'm out?
Like, I don't get to play games the whole time.
Right?
I thought that's what working at GameStop was.
Well, I'll tell you, people like to say that when you work somewhere like that, that's not all you do. But there's definitely a certain point.
Oh, I'm sure it's
at a part in the part of the month where you're like in between like doing monthly reports.
Yeah.
Where we literally, I remember once we had a fucking Dr. Mario tournament on Game Boy. We would literally take turns playing for fucking like hours trying to beat each other's score in Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
So anybody who gets all high and mighty, it's like, there's a lot of hard work we do. Shut the fuck up.
But then there's also the people who are like, I want to work at GameStop. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be around video games all day. And it's like, dude.
Well, do you remember my story about the girl shitting on the carpet? That was GameStop. So things happen at GameStop.
Yeah,
we had people get
like
held up at gunpoint at GameStop. We had our GameStops broken into.
Oh my god.
I remember one time, I think I've told this story on the podcast, about nearly jumping across the counter, beating the shit out of some kid because he was hitting his mom for not buying him the new Xbox. Like and then of course you get every fucking neckbeard mouth breather that wants to sit there and talk to you about whatever goddamn video game, and all you want to do is sit down and play Dr. Mario. And then yeah. Not all nerd stereotypes are accurate, but they all come from somewhere, and I've experienced all of them.
Well, I mean, the stereotypes are only true to an extent, but there are the ones that make the average where it is.
You know,
so
like,
it's like there are the extremes. They exist.
There's nothing better than like not believing a stereotype and then it happens. Like when you're like, no, nobody is like that.
I don't I don't want to believe that like anyone is that bad.
Like there's no way some guy stood in line for 6 hours to buy the World of Warcraft expansion who just happened to have a 3-foot beard, an Indiana Jones hat, a giant T-shirt tucked into his khakis with flip-flops that also happened to come in and be like, guys, have you heard about the new... Oh my God, it's definitely happened.
Oh yeah.
And the day it happens, you're like, holy shit, I just saw a fucking unicorn.
Well, it's the weird thing is like, did WoW create those people, or did those people just gravitate to WoW?
Those people gravitated to WoW because those people existed way before then. Like, you go back and play Ultima Online or any of those kind of things, and there's some fucking like... Yeah, the thing is, if you've ever been around people who play Dungeons and Dragons, yes, you'll find your occasional Dungeons and Dragons like normal person.
And that's like 30 years old now.
I think it's even older than that, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, you find your Dungeons and Dragons people. Not all of them are crazy nerds, but more often than not, when somebody says I played,
that's all you need to say. But
a person tell me, fucking, you know what? You know how I knew I worked for Blizzard for a little while. You know how I knew I wasn't meant to work there? I was like my second week there.
There could be plenty of reasons.
But they're like the second week I was there. The couple guys I was working with were like, "Hey, Eric, do you play Dungeons and Dragons?" I was like, "Fuck no." And I like think about where I was, because I don't think video game equals Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean? It doesn't correlate.
So they were like, "What are you doing here?"
Literally 100%. They go, "What are you doing working here if you don't like Dungeons and Dragons?" Like, I like World of Warcraft. I thought it was fun, and I thought it'd be fun to work here. And they go, the owner of the company or the head guy, his name is Mike Morheim, and he goes, do you know what happened if Mike Morheim came in here right now when he found out you didn't play Dungeons and Dragons? And I said, I probably wouldn't give a fuck. And he goes, you're probably fired. I'm like, look, man, if this guy wants to fire me because I don't play fucking Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not meant to be here.
That's like the like Apple store people who like you don't use an iPhone and you work at the Apple store? Like, where's your name brand loyalty? And the name brand loyalty.
Steve Jobs is rolling over in his grave right now. You're not allowed the Genius Bar anymore.
I I for the last like 5 minutes I've been trying to come up with something to end on, and it's not like we're just going in weird circles. Thank you for listening to episode 36 of the Unreasonably Angry podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, please rate and review us on iTunes or Facebook. We like to hear what you think.
And if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, you can hit us up on our Twitter. You can send us an email to unreasonablyangrypodcast@gmail.com. And if you're listening on the toilet today, I hope you pop a boner. And until next time, my name is Eric.
And I'm Gary.
Stay angry, fuckers.